Welcome to Fireside Gaming. I'm Billum, and this week we're going full-on nostalgia with a look at Kingdom Hearts for the PS2. Now I know that I could look at one of the various re-releases of Kingdom Hearts rather than the original, but I'm not for a couple of reasons. The most obvious of these is that this is a retro gaming channel for the most part, so of course I'm going to check out the version that still counts as retro. And the second is that I don't really care for the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 release. It's mainly due to the color switches for Heartless that came with the final mix version of Kingdom Hearts. It throws me off, and many of them just don't look as good as they do in their original color scheme. It actually kind of annoys me that only the final mix version has been re-released, and not the original. But that's enough explaining why we're looking at the original Kingdom Hearts. Now let's get on to that sweet nostalgia I mentioned. But real quick, let me say that there are going to be spoilers all throughout this review. If you've somehow missed out on Kingdom Hearts, understand that I won't be holding back on details or sequestering them off to their own section for this retrospective. Kingdom Hearts came out in the US on September 17th of 2002. At the time, I was 12 years old, and I remember my first exposure to it were the commercials running on TV. I wasn't yet a teenager too cool for Disney, and there's no denying that drawl that Simple and Clean has. Seriously, that song still hits me right in the feels every time I hear it. So when Christmas rolls around, my sister and I are both ecstatic when we open up one of the family gifts and it's Kingdom Hearts, a game that would occupy my life for months to come. I spent so much time with this game, not just playing it either. Even when it wasn't my turn to have the TV, I still sat around and watched my sister play through the game. Even after beating the main story, I couldn't help but go back and do all of the extras, which isn't something I normally do. I beat all of the secret bosses, bumped myself up to the max level, found all the missing puppies, and even crafted the ultimate weapon after hours of dealing with these annoying mushroom men. It's easy to say that I was hooked on Kingdom Hearts. Which is why it's kind of funny that my playthrough for this review is only the second instance of me beating the game. Sure, I'd started it a couple other times in the past, but never went the distance to actually complete it. Instead, Kingdom Hearts has remained a memory deep in the recesses of my mind, only pulled up in conversation with friends as we fondly discuss how great of a game it is and reminisce about simpler times. So can Kingdom Hearts match up to my nostalgia? Is it still a game that deserves all that love and praise I give it all of these years later? Let's find out. Kingdom Hearts is an action RPG from Squaresoft, not yet Square Enix mind you, that combines a cast of original characters and worlds with a mix of Disney characters and locales, all while adding in a dash of Final Fantasy for good measure. The game immediately kicks off by throwing philosophical questions about existence at us, clearly as the internal monologue of our still unnamed protagonist. Then Simple and Clean kicks in and we fall through an ocean only to wake up on a beach. Another person is waiting for us in the water, holding out his hand. We try to take it, but we can't as the waves wash us away. Next thing we know, we surface on that same beach, and this time a girl is waiting for us. But it doesn't last. We see ourselves falling through the sky, a glimpse into the future as we start falling to mimic our counterpart. And it ends with us finding our footing atop a stained glass tower with the visage of an unknown woman in the center. Holy crap, this is how you start a game. So many mysteries and questions right out of the gate and a scene that hits us with feelings of awe and wonder all at the same time. It's without a doubt magical and easily one of the best openings of any game to date. It's at this point that Kingdom Hearts introduces us to its core gameplay. It does so through a tutorial, but that doesn't really feel out of place here. Everything is new to us, and the game guides us while dropping more ambiguous dialogue along the way. And of course, it's here that we get our first taste of combat. Combat with a flow so smooth, it's leaps and bounds above anything else that had yet to come out. It's no joke to say that you can feel battles in Kingdom Hearts are going to be something special after having only defeated your first Heartless, even if you have no idea what those are yet. We progress through the tutorial smashing X to kill shadows. Yes, X. Kingdom Hearts is kind of weird in that X is attack and circle is jump, but it's something that you get used to fairly fast. After climbing up several stained glass towers, we face off against a massive Heartless called Darkseid, an absolute monster that in no way seems like it should be taken down by you or your shield. But it is. And then we wake up. Our protagonist, who we now know as Sora, was sleeping on the beach, shirking his duties and helping his friends Riku and Kairi build a raft. The three are working together on the raft so that they can explore beyond their small island. As they do this, we meet various other characters that live in this world, and they all have familiar faces. This is where the Final Fantasy crossover comes into play. Alongside Sora, Riku, and Kairi are Titus, Walka, and Selphie. Those first two are from Final Fantasy X, while the latter is from Final Fantasy VIII. though they're all kids here and clearly aren't the same characters we know from those games. The first part of Kingdom Hearts has us searching Destiny Island for various supplies we need to go on our journey. That includes collecting parts for the raft, finding food and water, and other things. Though players can also stop to take part in matches against the other kids on the island. The battle with Riku is important to note as it builds into the rivalry between him and Sora. See, the two keep track of how many times they beat each other. That includes in a race with the winner getting to share a Pow Pow fruit with Kairi. The local legends claim that if two people share one, their destinies become intertwined. I actually lost my race against Riku the first time this go around, and I wasn't having any of that. Instead, I reloaded my save and beat him on my second try. This also lets players name the raft instead of going with Riku's choice of Highwind, which is another nod to Final Fantasy. Unfortunately for the trio, they never get the chance to take that raft out. A storm comes into town and Destiny Island is attacked by Heartless. Sora tries to take them on, but finds he's unable to like he could in his dream. When it seems like he's about to be overwhelmed, the Keyblade comes to his aid. With this new weapon in hand, Sora can dispatch the Heartless. Even so, everything that's happening is too much for him to handle. Riku is going on about a door opening, something is clearly wrong with Kairi, and now the Darkseid from Sora's dream is back and he has to defeat it to protect Destiny Island. Sora fails in this task, and his home is swallowed by darkness. It's also around this time that we learn King Mickey has gone missing and that Donald and Goofy are heading out to search for him. They're supposed to seek out the person with the key to their survival. We next wake up in Traverse Town, a place unknown to Sora. However, he quickly attracts the attention of more Heartless. We get some Scooby-Doo styled shenanigans of Sora, Donald, and Goofy just missing each other as they travel around the town before running into Final Fantasy VIII's Squall, or Leon as he prefers to go by in this game. This all comes to a head with Sora teaming up with Donald and Goofy to stop the guard armor Heartless. The three agree to travel together in search of King Mickey, as well as Riku and Kairi. This is the part of the game where players end up traveling around a variety of Disney worlds and meeting up with various characters from them. That includes Alice in Wonderland, Hercules, Tarzan, Aladdin, Nightmare Before Christmas, and a few others. When on these worlds, players mostly go through the events of the movie.
I wish for your freedom, Genie.
But with some extra story added in to progress the main plot of the game. Covering all of them would take forever, so I'm not going to. What I will say is that it's surprising just how good of a job Square did at combining Final Fantasy, Disney, and the Kingdom Hearts characters together in one cohesive universe. As we progress through Kingdom Hearts, Sora grows in power and levels. The game isn't as stat-heavy as your normal JRPG, but there are still strength, defense, and magic parameters to take note of. Instead, the biggest form of advancement in Kingdom Hearts comes from abilities. When players level up, they sometimes gain new abilities. Most of these are for use in combat, but others help with traversing levels in the game. But players can't just equip abilities willy-nilly. They need ability points, or AP for that. Each skill has an AP cost for the player to equip them, with some being more expensive than others. The most interesting thing about this is how it changes up combat in the game. Players can equip skills that extend and change their combos, as well as perform special attacks. They can also choose to be more focused on magical attacks, such as Fire, Blizzard, and Thunder. There's even other classic Final Fantasy spells, such as Gravity, Arrow, and Cure that be found in the game. Typical Final Fantasy items, including potions, elixirs, and the like, can also be used for healing if magic isn't your forte. All of these options mean that there's a wide variety of different playstyles available. I remember watching my sister play as well as talking with a few friends about this. No two of us played the game the exact same way, and that really says something about how diverse the combat in Kingdom Hearts can be. Our main goal when traversing these worlds is sealing each of their keyholes with the Keyblade. This prevents the Heartless from reaching the world's hearts, which means they can't cover them in darkness like they did Destiny Island. But just how are we traveling through space? I'm glad you asked. Another major feature of Kingdom Hearts are Gummy Ships. These are hit and miss with friends I've talked to, but I like them. Basically, players use these Gummy Ships to move between planets while fighting off enemy Heartless ships. This plays like a rail shooter similar to Star Fox, but much more simple in nature. The thing that I love most about Gummy Ships is designing them. Players can collect parts from enemies as well as buy them from Sid in Traverse Town. As they move through the game, more parts are unlocked, which allows for more powerful and complex ships to be created. While the system may not be perfect, it's something I'm fond of, and I truly believe it's a great way to mix up the gameplay so that players don't just spend all game long jumping and smacking things with a key. One world in particular that's worth noting is Neverland. It's here that we run into both Riku and Kairi again. Kairi has lost her heart to the Heartless, and Riku is using the powers of darkness to try and get it back. This puts him at odds with Sora's group, as the Keyblade wielder is a warrior of light. The penultimate area of Kingdom Hearts is a world called Hollowed Bastion. This is an original world like Traverse Town and not from Disney. It's here we learn that Sora isn't the Keyblade's chosen wielder, Riku is. He uses the power of his heart to take the Keyblade from Sora, and Donald and Goofy go with him, as their mission is to follow the Keyblade. This doesn't last for long, as Donald and Goofy take Sora's side again against Riku in a later scene. It also gives Sora the literal power of friendship that he needs to wrest back control of the Keyblade from Riku.
Although my heart may be weak, it's not alone. It's grown with each new experience, and it's found a home with all the friends I've made. I've become part of their heart just as they've become a part of mine. And if they think of me now and then, if they don't forget me, then our hearts will be one. I don't need a weapon. My friends are my power.
Along the way, players also take on Maleficent in both her human and dragon forms before discovering the Princesses of Heart. Each of them are required to complete the final keyhole leading to Kingdom Hearts. Without them, Sora can't use the Keyblade to seal it, and darkness will continue to pour from it. We also run into Riku and Kairi again. Riku has completely lost himself to darkness and is now possessed by Ansem. That name means a lot to players at this point, as they've been reading his reports on the Heartless throughout the game. Kairi is still a vegetable, but we learn that she's also a Princess of Heart. Ansem claims that she can be brought back if Sora will give her heart back. The two do battle, with Sora defeating the possessed Riku. He realizes that he needs to unlock his heart and uses Ansem's Keyblade to do so. This not only frees Kairi's heart, but also all of the other Princesses' heart from the Dark Keyblade belonging to Ansem. With this, the Princesses of Heart are no longer stuck in their sleeping states, but now the Keyblade, and Sora, are gone, which means the keyhole spewing out darkness can't be sealed. Didn't think that went through all the way, did you, Sora? This is actually where we get one of the more interesting parts of the story. See, Sora survives his mortal chest wound, but as a Heartless. Players have to run through Hollow Bastion at this point to catch up with Donald, Goofy, and Kairi as they escape. Donald initially tries to beat Sora back with his staff, but Kairi realizes the Heartless is him and protects him. As the three are about to be attacked by Heartless, Sora regains his heart and normal body. The four flee Hollow Bastion and regroup at Traverse Town. After a quick meetup with the various Final Fantasy characters in the town, Sora and the group set back out to Hollow Bastion and succeed in sealing the keyhole. But their journey isn't done just yet. There's one last place to go: End of the World. End of the World is basically a desolate wasteland gauntlet that has Sora and the gang squaring off against the toughest Heartless they've fought yet as they seek out Ansem, who's now attempting to open the door to Kingdom Hearts. We get a series of boss battles that progress more into the realm of ridiculous with each form that Final Fantasy players are sure to appreciate. It all ends with Ansem opening the door to Kingdom Hearts, only for Sora to reveal the truth of what Kingdom Hearts is.
You're wrong. I know now, without a doubt, Kingdom Hearts is light!
But why?
However, with light comes darkness. Sora, Donald, and Goofy have to close the door to Kingdom Hearts before the Heartless can escape. They're aided by King Mickey, who's also a Keyblade wielder, and a dang powerful one, as he takes out multiple Darkseids as if it's nothing. And Riku is there too. They both are trapped on the other side of the door, but assure Sora's gang that they will find their way to them after closing it. With this, we get another sweet blast of Simple and Clean as Sora and Kairi are separated as the world swallowed by darkness start to reform. They promise to see each other again, and one can only hope with how many other games this one spawned. The final scene in the game shows Pluto holding a letter from King Mickey, with Sora, Donald, and Goofy chasing after him. Unless you completed certain side quests during your playthrough, then you get one more cutscene. Another side, another story. A teaser, if you will, for Kingdom Hearts 2. Just like with the opening of this game, we're hit with a ton of mysteries and questions that only make us want more answers, and the hook for Kingdom Hearts 2 is set. There's no getting around it. I still love Kingdom Hearts. The magic it cast on the player is as strong as it ever was. It even pulled me in to complete all the side quests once again. And that wasn't just to grab the extra footage for this review. I just wanted to do everything. I didn't want the journey to end, and I enjoyed it all the way through. I really have no problems with the first Kingdom Hearts. It's a dang near perfect game, and one that I can easily recommend. It treats players to a wonderful story, excellent combat, amazing visuals, and emotion-stirring music. There's not many other games out there that can match it in terms of execution and polish, even nearly 2 decades after its release. I'll be continuing these Kingdom Hearts reviews in the future, though they may be a bit more spread out so I don't bombard the channel with JRPGs. The next time we return to the series, we'll take on Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. I'm sure that many of you carry similar memories with Kingdom Hearts like I do, and I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. While you're down there, I'd appreciate it if you'd like this video and consider subscribing if you enjoy what I do here. And as always, thank you for watching, and take it easy. Players have to run through Castle Oblivion